We're back. We're back.
Hey.
We're on. It's nice to be back, actually. It's been a couple weeks. And we got one of my favorite dudes over here in the house, Pete.
Why, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Say, man, you've never been that happy to see me before, but okay.
And there's Dirk.
And there's Dirk over there in the corner.
And then Dirk's over
here.
It is
really nice to be here today, guys. I really appreciate the offer. These two have been trying to get me and Women Carry Knives, who is currently occupied, but she'll join us in a little bit, on the show for a long time, and life just kept getting in the way. And so I am very grateful for their patience and understanding, and it's really nice to be here today.
Oh, no, man. And
we get it.
As other human beings are, we get it, man. But we still want you on the show, so we're going to keep. Hey, man, you ready to come back?
I'm for it, man. I am. I love doing this. The last couple of months of my life have been, well, let's just say it's been life.
Yeah, for sure. Got Luck Knives in the house. I got Stacy. She's awake this time. Todd Carr, Napster Ninja, all the other people. We don't really kind of go through. We're going to spend 10 minutes saying hello to everybody.
Yeah, all the good people. So, yeah, and I think having Pete on is great because I love his whole concept of EDC and knife collecting. It's like a therapy session, right? And man, that is one cool thing about your channel. Like the name says a lot more to a lot of people. I think Stas is a perfect example of something similar, right? He's got a story behind why he does what he does, and I think that's awesome, man. I love having people like you in the community.
You bring it, so I started this 5 years ago and a fair amount of subs ago.
Now that you've
by old standards, I have a lot.
10,000 subscriber mark.
Yeah, and I'll tell you.
To celebrate that for you because that's an accomplishment.
And I really appreciate that. It of course has changed my. No, it really hasn't. I mean, it's exactly the same. The funny thing about getting over 10,000, well, at least in my case, is because I had to sort of step away from the full-length content for a while. A lot of those subs have been, and I'm grateful for it, but have been driven by I'm pretty active in shorts, right?
Right.
And so my full-length videos have been averaging about 50 views. So I have 10,000 subscribers, but they're not into what I do on the long stuff. They tend to watch my shorts do pretty well, 1,800 views.
Yep.
But can you pause and elaborate why you think that is? Because me and Dirk have had that talk too, right?
Because it's not the same audience on YouTube. It just isn't. There are people who, when YouTube jumped in and decided to compete directly with TikTok, and that's what the shorts are, they really pushed them. And pushed them. It was sort of it was like activating a cheat code. For a while there, you'd get 6, 8, 10,000 views and 50 subs, just like that. But those same people aren't getting the full length content. As far as I can tell, they're not getting the full length content pushed to them in the same way. And so I know because I work with adolescents at the program at my hospital, and they watch YouTube Shorts, and I say, "What else do you watch on YouTube?" And they're like, "Nothing."
You know what's weird about that though is ever since I've been a kid, right? Like when I like sink my teeth into something, I want full length content. Like I don't want a tidbit, right? Like I don't have time for a bunch of tidbits. If you get what I'm saying, like give me somebody who's an expert. Put the damn expert on, right? Like you know what I mean by expert, by anyways. Right. That's very loosely is what I mean. But put somebody on that knows what the hell they're talking about. I don't need technically an expert, but just get me somebody genuine and show me why you want to buy that damn thing. I'm like, I can read the specs on a spec sheet online or whatever. Like I go to YouTube videos to basically see really what it looks like in your hand, because I imagine what, depending on the size hands, I could get an idea of what the thing's actually going to look like. And plus pictures are deceiving, right? Like, so you can get this blade that's got these, contrasts, like keyed up and everything. And then when you get it, you're like,
Yep.
Well, this looks a lot cheaper than it did in the picture, right? And we're like, oh, this kind of like feels like a rough texture. It looked like, you know, it was nicely milled and whatever it may be. So, but all that aside, I think what people really like stick to is personalities and things like that. So for me, again, segueing back to what I was saying is the short stuff, I just don't have an attention span. And you know, like Dirk had mentioned about you and like your success with the shorts, right? With views and stuff like that. And that as content creators, like these are cool tools, like they work, right? But I just you could ask Dirk. I was like, I'm just not doing it, man. I just like if I'm gonna do a review, like let me give you like the whole thing. I don't want to like just give you a piece of it because I don't know. It just doesn't match with my attention span. So I can't follow this generation of shorts, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
And it's not for everybody, you know. I like it because
Who is it for? Who is it
kids,
for?
young people mostly.
Look it up.
It's the same audience. So where did it come from? TikTok became enormous, right? And back then it was the longest video you could do on TikTok, period, was 15 seconds.
Wow.
Then they expanded
Oh,
it
on TikTok, it was 15 seconds when it started.
Yeah, that was it. Just like that. Now you can do up to 30-minute videos on TikTok. And I actually put my full-length stuff on TikTok where I'll get 600 views instead of 50 over on YouTube.
Really?
Really.
That's interesting to me too. Now I know TikTok, like the short stuff. I've talked to my girlfriend, and who has younger kids, 17 and 15, right?
Right.
She goes, they go in and they'll come into the house and go to their rooms and go to TikTok, and they just spend like 6 hours just scrolling on TikTok. Like the short things, 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have TikTok, so I don't really understand it, but it's kind of like when I get into the shorts on YouTube. It's 20, 30, 40 seconds. I watch it. I don't do a lot of it. I do a little bit. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, move on. But I get the attention span thing.
It's not even that. It's what we're trained to absorb. Consider, right? We are from a generation when a TV show was an hour.
Yeah.
Right? And not only was it an hour, but it was 23 episodes long in a season.
Yes.
We knew there was 15 minutes of commercials, but we would watch the bad episodes.
Yes.
To get to the good ones.
Yeah.
We knew it would improve.
Yep.
Now, even TV shows are 10 or 13 episodes, no more, right? They're usually a half hour, right? And all of this is driven by media's moving ever faster. Generationally, we're just not, I watch a lot of TikTok just because I'm on it because of my stuff.
Sorry.
Hey,
what up?
There
we
is.
really get into the media.
It's impossible, I think, for us to appreciate how accustomed to that instant soundbite media everybody under the age of about 20 is. That's all they've known.
Yeah, that is.
But am I just weird that if I see it, if it's under like 10 minutes, I click off of it? Like it has to be. It's just.
You're not weird, man, but you're you. And that's completely respectable. I, on the other hand, don't, particularly when it comes to review stuff, I like to watch, if I click into somebody and they're reviewing this Kershaw or whatever, and the video is 30 minutes long, I have to ask automatically, what in the hell are they doing for the other 20 minutes? You know what I mean? Because there's only, and after what you'll discover is they're either saying the same thing over and over again, or they're expounding really deeply on their opinion, which is great. That's what people want sometimes. I don't. I watch
that's
YouTube.
Actually, you nailed it right there, because that's actually what I'm interested in.
See, so it's different. I'm information driven, less so like, and I think that this corner here, man, they could have just shaved just a millimeter further. I don't care.
No, that I don't. No.
You know what I mean?
No, that's not what I mean by that. What I mean by longer form videos and like the stuff that I like is I like somebody who'll explain like the history behind a design, or who that custom knife maker is. Like when I do some of my when I make a video anymore, but I do it like I have a process, right? Like I want a little entertainment entertainment segment. So I open up with something edited, spinning, smoke, and cool stuff, right? And then after that, then we'll go into like a voiceover where I talk about history of the maker and the company, because those are the things that are going to be like harder for me to find on like a spec sheet on Blade HQ. If you blow through it and you're like, hey, this knife is da 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 da, and guess what? It's good for fishing because it cuts fish real well. Like I'm like, okay, well, I kind of figured that from looking at the picture, but I just kind of wanted more. That's good for fishing right there.
You got a fishing knife there? What was it?
But yeah, that's my take on it.
Is it warm in here?
Yeah, I get it. And I kind of go back and forth.
Hi, I'm going to be right back.
Some of my videos, right? Some are quick and easy, and I expand on the Blade HQ ad, so to speak. And then others I get more into the history behind it, the person making it, and things like that. It all depends on who it is and what it is, I think, for me, when I make a video. But I try to give some history, some background. Like I see Knife Life is in the house here, and I still have his knife. This is his.
Oh man, dude, that thing's sweet.
Fixed blade from Rockstead that I haven't wrapped my head fully around yet to film. I'm going to try to do that this week, man, so that I can get it back to you or not. There is an option on the table to not send it back. So I need to get some history behind it because Rockstead doesn't make a ton of fixed blades. So
If it's Rockstead, it's awesome. That's all it is. It's Rockstead. It's Japanese.
Yeah, can you go wrong?
No, it doesn't matter which one you buy.
Dude, it's
We just do what we always do.
it's an amazing fixed blade, and it is so sharp. It is almost scary. I have cut a few things with it. I will do some more cutting when I do the video. It is like crazy.
I would love to own a Rockstead knife. Those are
Wow.
insane.
Our friend Chris has had 6 or 7 of them come through his knife swapping selling deal that he does, and so we've had a bunch of them in hand. They're phenomenal.
They're phenomenal. I don't know which folder. Like I've always wanted a Rockstead folder. I think I want the Shin model. At some point, I will get one. I feel like I'm not really a collector if I don't have a Rockstead for some reason. So yeah.
You could build a case for it out of your giant other knives. You could just stack them in a square and then put the. No. Okay.
I could, yeah. So EDC for Fun says I've learned a ton from Dirk and Alex, but I've also interacted with you guys, and that's really makes the difference. That's why he stays on YouTube, is for the people. And we've heard people say that before. You know, I came for the knives, but stayed for the people. Well, you know, it's kind of a cliche, but it's kind of true.
I think that I agree. You know, it's knife collecting is fun, but unless you're the kind of person that likes to sit around in your house all by your lonesome and just look at your things, it's having a community at large to share them.
Oh,
I don't want to know what you do in your house alone at night. That's your business. But what I'm saying is, but even still, you say that, but we'll text each other and you'll be like, look what I got. Right.
I do like to share.
Right. That's what I mean. There's a piece that makes it more fun to have other people who know that you're not crazy, or that understand you're crazy.
You have to read that.
This is a good comment here. Ed says, I do like hearing a Therapeutic Edge's smooth, soothing voice, though. It's like ASMR. Hashtag no kidding.
I agree with that.
He absolutely has the voice for radio and television. Like,
I got the face for it, too.
It drew me in, too, when I first started hearing your voice. Let me tell you.
My voice is so soothing, it'll put me to sleep. That's why I can't do videos longer than about 10 minutes, because after a while, I'm just like, oh, God, I'm still talking.
I get it. So one of our main topics today was going to be limited editions. So let's kind of get to the limited editions, and we'll get back to some comments. We'll get back to, Peter and Christine's life and all of that, because you guys didn't all come here just for Alex and I. I know we got the group for those two. So
I came here for you, beautiful men. That's all.
Right?
Alex really
I
had
am
the
damn beautiful.
limited.
I am.
Alex had the limited edition topic because of a knife he just recently bought. That we'll get him to show up here, and we'll make him bigger.
That's what she said.
And yes, and it was. Did they advertise it as limited when they advertised it for
Yes.
Was it pre-sale?
No,
It was just
wasn't
an order.
pre-sale. It just got released in one
yeah.
day. So
Okay.
I bought this knife because, in all honesty, I've always wanted a Kershaw tilt.
Yep.
Just up front, I like the original tilt better than this one, but this was a chance for me to have a tilt. So
Okay.
and I kind of almost snoozed on it because I thought maybe, just maybe, they're probably going to do 2 or 3 runs of these things.
Right.
So maybe I'll snooze on this one. And then, and so anyways, I set the alarm for that day. It came out and I just decided to buy it. I said, you know what, whatever. Let me just get one now. Maybe I'll have a low serial number or something like that. So I bought it. And then come the next day, I take it to work and everything. And my buddies at work really like it. It's weird. We call it the Cybertruck of knives.
Yes.
That's what I just said. That's what I was just telling Peter. It looks like the Cybertruck.
It does. I've seen a lot of people compare it with that.
I already did the video review of this last night, and I am going to insert the picture of the Cybertruck lined up with this thing closed. And it is something I can never unsee ever again, which means
there is a picture floating around Facebook and Instagram right now.
It's my buddy that made it. It's Rick P.
Oh,
Rick
shit.
P on Facebook. Yeah, he did that stupid thing. He actually has both the original and this.
That's awesome.
Himself. But he is specifically like an old school, like CRKT and Kershaw, like just real old classics. And when I mean like anything like 12 to 20 years old, like he's got a lot of this really like weird stuff. So him and I are buddies. He lives, like half an hour away. We exchange knives over coffee once in a while. And him and I were talking about this thing, and I'm like, the first day I got it, I was trying to decide whether I really liked it or didn't, which it's grown on me now. But, also when I took it to work, my buddy's like, screw it, I'm going to buy one right now. So we jumped on the Kershaw website, and not only, of course, as I figured they'd be sold out the first day, but they were discontinued. Like they actually marked discontinued, like these are gone. So one of the first things I said to Dirk, because I was telling him like, hey, I got this weird looking knife. I think the first day I told you, I said it was super ugly, but it's really intricate. And that's why I bought it, because of the subframe lock and the way that it's cut, like that back spacer kind of construction.
Is it a back spacer? It's not integral.
No, it's not. It's just kind of meant to like mimic that, right?
Yeah.
And all that stuff. It was a construction thing that I bought this knife for. So, but unlike a lot of other stuff you see, it's a limited edition that is actually limited, right?
Right. Does it have serial number?
It does. It is. They mark it on the inside here. This is 276. So me and Rick were talking. We think that there's probably 500, but I don't think they disclosed how many they released. And I hate it when they do that, because I want to know.
Yeah, I would prefer them say we're making 500 or 627 or some number, just so people know. And it's limited because nobody wants it.
Yes.
You see, I would want it for the very reason that Alex did. I wasn't going to spend that kind of money on one, but I would want one because I like old Kershaw. They were the first company I ever had more than one of. That wasn't just some gas station thing I picked up going.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Right. I can't. Dirk, you've got a bunch of his knives, but Kershaw was making them for a long time first. Introduction to knife makers and designers and stuff that Kershaw just seemed to have access to that you couldn't get anywhere else unless you wanted to.
RJ Martin did some with them. Todd Rexford did a bunch with them too back in the day.
And I'll tell you, actually, Alex, before we get started, this is the Highball XL, which is the least XL thing in history. Right, this is the Kershaw, but this is the Smoky Mountain Knife Works one in all titanium and S35 VN. This is one of the nicest knives. It's fantastic. And so when I saw that, because I knew that they could do this and they did a fantastic job, I knew that thing in your hand was going to be a great, at least well-made knife, because they can.
Right.
So
and they did. They really did. I felt though like, so here's my expectation of the tilt. So just like you know, like it's exactly the same reason. It takes me back to like my early days, and I just freshly recorded this 36-minute video, and I don't know how much I'm going to condense it, but I brought out the ZT 777 Damascus. I brought out the ZT 0454. I brought out a couple other like subframe lock examples. Right, because it all ties into this knife with the composite blade technology. That's their thing, right? With the dual steels and the subframe lock, like that's their patented thing. And there's a whole funny story that a lot of us old schoolers know about Microtech and, you know, ZT fighting over this very thing. So it's kind of still funny to see it on a knife because they're technically the only ones that can put it on there. And, you know, I mean, that's arguable because there's variations of that I've seen on other things, right? But the two steels, though, kind of like that. This one's CPM Crewwear and CEN 28 or CE 28N, and usually they use kind of like CE 28N, but they also use Van X on the 777. They use D2 on some of their less expensive knives. Like the Dividend was another one I brought out. That's an $89 knife, right? And it's that zipper blade design, right? That's a great one right there, the Junkyard Dog.
Which is the D2 down on the bottom and 14, or is it D2 and then 14? I don't remember. But
usually the D2's on the bottom.
So I think it's D2 and 14C. If I remember, you'd have to go back and look at the video. But I got this from our buddy Chris.
Yeah, that is sweet.
You know, that Peter and Christine introduced me to. So it actually was funny. I traded him 2 knives for this. And then about a week later, Peter sends me a text with a picture of those 2 knives that I had given Chris because Peter picked both of those up from Chris in a different trade. So really, the 2 knives I own, I sent to Peter.
That's right.
For this.
That's how it works, man.
It's a small, little incestuous world here in Northern California.
There you go. Oh yeah, that brings
not Carco, Chris.
So
so this is the 0560. This is it's LMAX and it's hang on, my eyes don't work anymore. It's actually S110V with 14C.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
And does that one? It's got the little bit of like copper or whatever it is between the in the lightning or in the they do that right. They use a different material to adhere them.
They do the same thing on this one too. It's top and bottom, so it's almost like a 3-piece construction, you know. So cool. Same thing. It's that like a little bit of copper is what they use, I think, to fuse it or whatnot. I don't think it'll come up through my. I'm just going to go ahead and say shitty camera.
Right.
Camera.
But it's there.
And make it
it's a little more evident. Like I think it's a little more evident on like the 777 and some of the older ones.
Where do they make the break?
It's the color, the colored steel.
Oh, the color is the separation between. Oh, okay.
Right.
So really, really cool.
I like how they put their in-house design logo on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is functional. The only thing is that these finger choils are rather large, you know. Like, I mean,
Yes.
it's not a bad thing, but it's
I
kind
have to
of
tell you, I respect that complaint, so I'll take it because clearly it's not going to be comfortable for you. You should
Right.
send it to me.
well.
Alex could put his thumb in there and be fine.
But they did like make sure that they knocked that little corner right there off, right?
Yeah.
So that's nice. And then the other cool thing about it is, which obviously won't come out on my camera well, but the milling on this thing, it's got little lines milled all over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's got little milling. I don't know, maybe it'll come out better. And the clip has the little bit of it too.
Nice.
So a lot of like work, but as I've told Dirk and a few other people, I think this was like a $400 knife. It was $100 too much, you know,
Okay.
in the way that I feel about it, because originally I was expecting like a ZT factory custom. I don't care. It was called a Kershaw. It was $500.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was expecting a ZT factory custom kind of feel to it. And it's got a really like unique feel to it, like a weird Kershaw or ZT knife would.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, ZT and Kershaw are under the same parent company. They share manufacturing parts and everything. So they're all under Kai USA. That's why I keep referring to these two, for those who don't know.
Well, that's why Napster Ninja kind of says, would it be any different if Kershaw released that knife as a ZT?
It would, because that was originally a Kershaw knife. And I want to add, for those like old schoolers, I think will agree with me, like that was probably one of the most sought after Kershaw models, like of the old school knives that existed. I couldn't touch one years ago for less than $1,000. Like they were really like kind of hard to, not super hard to find, but it would pop up now and then, but definitely very expensive if you found a nice example, you know. So but yeah, truly a limited, right?
Which is cool. Now, I don't know that I have any. I kind of, as we were talking about it yesterday, Alex, and I started thinking today, I don't know that I have any like really limited edition knives. I've got a bunch of custom one-off knives, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Not sure I have any limited.
I like playing in that limited edition realm, you know, because it goes back to that. Are they really limited? Well, kind of, you know, maybe this is the only time you'll get that color, or this is the only time you'll get the zipper blade with the S110 steel. So sometimes it is kind of cool, and sometimes it's just a bunch of hogwash because it's going to come out in blue next year, right?
Marketing.
Like I was like,
that's I mean that's a Spyderco complaint, right? Their limited editions never are.
Yes,
really.
The sprint runs.
You know,
that's kind of what I'm referring to.
It's part of the, and I absolutely detest it. It is part of the fear of missing out marketing technique. Spyderco is notorious for it.
FOMO works.
FOMO does work.
Masters
at it. If you tell me up front, this is a limited edition, they're numbered, or whatever, there's going to be 500 of these, I'll be like, okay, that's cool. But with Spyderco, I will not buy a knife on Pert at this point because they do that. I'm like, forget it. Like, I don't care. Or if you push your, let's say your PM2 in basic materials for $170 over and over again, and then release these little sort of proprietary to individual retailer knives for $10 more in exponentially better materials. I'm like, so you just know you could do that and you're just choosing not to.
Yes. Marketing.
Go to hell.
Marketing.
I'm not, so I've got a couple of really limited knives. I've got, this is the Hornet 2 from Tepe Designs.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
This he made 8 of these, 2 in each color. This is the red, like lava flow fat carbon stuff. And he actually gave us, it was a birthday present a number of years ago.
Love it.
All right. Other than that, it's M390. I mean, it's basically the same as the other knife. It's got a slightly different finish on it, but I know this is truly limited.
Yeah.
Because what happened is with him, he wanted to make these, and when they were making the production, at least back then, working in this sort of fat carbon stuff was they broke so many of them just in the manufacture that they gave up.
Oh,
So he backed away from
Because of the ceramic, right? I think it's ceramic that gives it that color. That's the
Is it?
material that's inside. Yeah,
I don't
that
think
I think
shine.
fiber and ceramic.
I don't know. It's lava flow. You
I
know
don't
more
know.
than I do about this stuff, man. So that's actually limited, and that's one of those knives that will never go anywhere. Because A, it was a birthday present, and B, it's just cool because it is rare.
yes.
And then the other one I picked up at a gun show of all places, but from Chris. This is
He
a
has
southern.
some cool
This is a
stuff.
southern grind.
He gets some really cool
Oh,
stuff.
the spider monkey.
Yeah. So this is the spider
Okay,
monkey.
yeah.
This is one of 10, and this is in CPM M4. This is number 3, and this was
Oh.
just before he left the company.
Ah,
Interesting.
So they won't do these again. And if they did, they'd cost $600 because they charge too much for their knives.
yes.
But I found this, he was doing a swap with somebody else at the gun show, and this thing hit
Yeah.
the table, and I went, that one's mine now. So I mean, I don't have a lot.
Is it
Yeah,
still
he's
ran
got
by
some
Zach
cool
Brown?
stuff.
No,
When
Zach
I seen
Brown
him
sold
at
his
the
interest in it.
Really?
Oh yeah,
When
one
did
time
that
ago.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't know.
There's divorce and some other things, chaos ensues, and so I think that it was in his best interest to not have that on his books. But yeah, no, he's not part of it anymore.
Interesting. Yeah, that is a cool knife. I always kind of looked at those. I always thought they were super cool.
I
Like, they
agree,
do
but
it
they want
with
$300 for the 14C edition, and that's just insane.
That
That's a
is.
lot.
That is. Yeah, I
Right.
remember their limited edition ones. If they put Damascus on it, they were, and this is a long time ago, by the way, like $600, $700. And I was like, because these aren't that popular, I considered it because I like the look of the thing, but then I talked some sense into myself.
What did I do with my glasses?
Yeah, so
need
Knife
glasses.
Life reminds me that any of the Shirogorov overkills would count as a limited edition, which is
That's
great.
true.
So I have owned limited editions, but I don't own any of the overkills anymore. I let them go.
So
We just we like things, but then we don't like things, or we like something better, so we let this thing go. Like I've got a Frank Fisher Fury.
yes, you do.
Okay, I've got several other from Frank.
Yes, you do.
This
Yeah.
one's for sale. I like it. It used to be Luck Knife, but now it's for sale because I like other things differently. So if anybody's interested, hit me up. I'll give you a deal because I would really like to sell it, because then maybe I would just buy this instead. But yeah, well, let's not go there. And then I don't know if we want to get into this or not, Christine, but Stacy wants to know how your surgery went. Everything went well. You're doing good, obviously, since you're here.
I did. Yeah, no, it went really well. They got it.
All
I don't know.
recovered and healed, and
Yeah, I don't know how many people
Working
know
good,
what it
yeah.
was, but yeah, I had some brain surgery. My surgeon was fantastic. They got it. You guys can't even see my scar, which is awesome. He saved the hair. Still got the hair, Stacy. He didn't chop it. Didn't
they
shave my
didn't
head.
have to cut off all your hair to do it.
No, it's kind of up front here. So I have
Okay.
kind of I have like
They cut a little bit, and
yeah, there's like a 5-inch scar there, but no, he did great. He was fantastic. He got it. I mean, it was good. It was really good.
That's a blessing.
Luck,
Yeah.
it could be yours again. Hit me up.
And it's interesting. I always tell people don't stay away from the doctor. They found mine on a fluke.
Yeah. Professor
we
EDC, what's up, man?
I know I'm seeing a lot of names I haven't seen for a while, so it's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
So we do have here Pizza Lover. What is it? Pizza Lover Forever. I love it. I am a pizza guy.
Dude,
As soon as I'm done with this,
you don't
I
even
am
know
making
what you just did by doing that name. Like Dirk is gonna love you forever now.
yes,
Dirk might
have
even
a
steal
pizza.
that name.
So, guys, what's the coolest tactical knife? Ooh, we're gonna have 4 different opinions here.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna turn
don't
around
even know
I'll
if
let
I
the
have
guys,
any.
I'll let the guys with the expensive knives go first.
expensive.
What's the definition of a tactical knife?
Yeah,
Absolutely. So absolutely nothing. It's entirely opinion based. There's no such thing. Tactical is a marketing name.
It's
doesn't
kind of
really
like
mean anything.
assault rifle. It's the same thing.
Right. It doesn't mean anything. But
because assault
depending
rifle
on what it
doesn't.
means to you, I think a tactical knife is a knife that's built for. Oh, okay. So I think the Yojimbo is probably the most versatile. I mean, I love the stitch, the manual stitch, as much, but I think the Yojimbo is probably the most versatile tactically, or because it's built for the guy that designed it around his knife fighting martial art. It is a skill-oriented fighting tool that also happens to be one of the best EDC knives ever made.
You know, I'm going to have to agree with you. That is probably the quintessential tactical knife because of why it was made and who it was made by and designed and the reasoning behind it. The Yojimbo and the Yojumbo, both,
Yeah, like Todd Carr said, he said Bob Terrazula is like one of the originators, is what they say, right?
For sure.
So
yes.
My little CTF is a great knife, but it doesn't actually inspire me to want it. I guess when I think tactical knives, I try to get away from like Rambo level stuff, and I don't like out the fronts that much. They're too pencil thin, too fragile.
See, I think of something that's going to take a beating.
Right.
Like my Pathfinder is probably my favorite, my ADV Pathfinder.
I ain't gonna lie.
Right now, it's buried under my other knives that I've been carrying. But to me, I mean, maybe not tactical, but very practical, very sturdy. I mean, that one is one that I take pretty much every after I'm going hiking or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want a knife that's I mean, it's sturdy. It takes a beating, and half the times you can't even tell I've used it. That's how well it stands up.
Yeah.
So that exact description that you just said,
yeah,
I'm gonna bring out my knife for that particular task. Any guesses?
No, man.
No.
But your collection's deep,
Yeah.
so I have no idea.
It is very deep.
right.
Also, we've been on for 30 minutes. Up.
Really?
Patrice?
Is that a surprise?
A little bit.
No.
I don't see. Yes to me.
Okay, I don't think of that knife in a tactical
way.
mindset because it is relatively slow to deploy. However, it's not on bearings. It's going to take crap and dirt better than most knives. The materials are fantastic. It's sturdy as hell. So I would not have thought of it, but I totally understand it.
Agreed.
You highlighted a lot of great points. The thing is I've owned this thing and I carry it a lot and cut with it a lot in cardboard and all kinds of shit. Like I do a lot with this knife, and it's looked exactly the way it does.
That's kind of my interpretation of it. Do you know where my ADV is?
And I bought this in 2016. Like I've
had
this knife and used it and carried it. This is my love, like since 2016, and it has cut like branches and done stuff outdoors.
Yep.
It looks like I really don't use it.
Yeah,
it does look like that. I would wipe it down.
Yeah,
of course. Do things that are going to scratch it, like because I love the finish on it.
Right.
And I'll go through branches. I can make little wood chips with it, cardboard or whatever, and it still looks fantastic. And the reason why I think of it in the tactical sense is because you got to admit it's a pretty long blade. It's not.
How long is that blade?
I think they're like 3.8 or 9.
Okay, I thought it was over 3.5
and 3/4.
They're not quite 4 inches, but they're close. And so it's a knife with a lot of reach. No matter how far back you hold it, it feels the same. It's a neutral handle, right? Like, because if you're doing something tactical, you're never going to like actually in a self-defense situation put your thumb on top of the blade. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you're going to do a hammer grip or whatever you're going to do. And for any kind of knife that feels comfortable in the hand all the time, like a knife that I like to take with me anywhere, whether I need to cut like a radiator hose on my car to get myself by somewhere, or whether I'm outdoors and I want to make kindling, like this is it for me. I know there's better knives that do better with better steel, but this
I know Todd had said that. Was it Todd that said he thinks fixed blade?
Yeah, so Todd says, honestly, though, when I think tactical, I automatically go fixed blade mode versus a folder.
Okay,
Which
so then I
agree.
have two different ones. If I'm thinking tactical for fixed blades,
I
I'm
just
gonna
thought
pick
we were
something
talking
completely
folders.
different. So
Yeah.
I think it just depends. I mean, I have a Bracamo and I love that thing. It's a beast, but that's not something I'm going to carry everywhere with me.
Right.
You know,
If
I mean,
we
I'd
were
have to
talking
go with
about
the,
like the last ditch knife, like maybe like a Becker BK9, you know, like a big fixed blade.
and that's a good.
Go
That's a
through
good one
doors.
too.
I don't
We
think
have
we
a few
count the
BKs.
mirror polished Rockstead as a tactical fixed blade.
No. Yeah.
What is tactical, man? Is it
Yeah,
my black
Marketing.
shirt? Is
Marketing.
my black shirt tactical?
This is my baby. It gets used
Oh,
everywhere.
that's
I've
cool.
cleaned it several times, but this thing is, to me, it's a beast. I love it. The weight of it, the heft of it.
Mhm.
I mean, I've beat the crap.
Is that a Pathfinder?
This is a Pathfinder, the mini
Pathfinder.
Pathfinder.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's cool.
But this is a fantastic knife, and this is one that, I take. I mean, everywhere. I have not even sharpened this thing yet.
So of her
that's-
knives, I love that thing. I don't have a Pathfinder anymore. I actually, when I got back into Todd Begg, it was some of the stuff I had to let go to collect the Begg stuff.
is
See,
one that-
we like everything, but we shift around.
Yeah,
But see, some of
It
them, like,
just
I
is
would
a
never get
thing.
rid of this. Chris has been after this knife for a while.
yeah.
Oh,
And it
don't give
will
it
not
to
go.
I
Yeah,
pulled
no.
from her collection. I pulled what I think is her most tactical knife.
Oh,
It's the
Protect
TR5,
choice.
operator.
Right.
Yeah.
and it's the SMT. This is the one in D2. This is their most recent, whatever they call their more tactical line.
Somebody in the comments mentioned Protect. Napster Ninja says, guess
Yeah.
tactical knives, I would think coated to knives like Protect knives operator series.
The
This
only
would be
reason
great if
why
it didn't have the billboarding.
Yeah, they really.
Yeah.
They
I
really-
actually won this one.
Okay.
that's sweet though.
Oh,
I have a
yeah, it's pretty
TR2.
awesome.
I think it's great. The reason why I like something like this better is because of the titanium versus aluminum, right?
No
Yeah.
question. No question. I think if we're really going to lean into what tactical is, honestly, I think a lot of the autos, because deployment speed has to matter. It has to matter. Now, if you're talking about survival tools as opposed to tactical,
Yes.
I would grab my Chris Reeve, my 31, and either one of my Unumzons over a lot of my other knives just for its survivability, right? But if I needed something that was going to get out of pocket and get into hand fast, it's going to be my Stitch automatic. Because that
But
thing,
is it really that much faster? To
Then,
push the buttons versus-
Is it that much faster than a flipper?
it is.
Well, Chris Weaves were never made to be open
but it's
fast. You
No,
know,
it's
It's
not
a
Well,
fast as
you are
this,
correct.
Stitch.
You are correct.
but it is faster than. You know,
But-
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Chris
Yes.
Reeve knives,
I
but
mean,
I
is it really that
feel
much
like
slower?
Chris Reeve is more like, like this is the 20-year-old, and a Chris Reeve knife is more of an 80-year-old. It's going to take a little bit longer.
Yes. No, I get that.
No,
You know what I mean?
fast.
Yeah.
And look! This one is so worn in so well. Look how fast it deploys. It's not like that much different. I mean,
They're
it's,
not-
well, then,
That's actually pretty good
but
for
then
Chris
we're back
Reeve.
to the idea that the
Oh,
word
it is.
tactical doesn't really have meaning anyway.
Right.
but I cheated because I polished.
We polished the washers.
Yeah.
The third day I got this knife like many years
Yeah.
ago.
No Chris Reeve opens like that.
King Pope saw
Mine
you in the
does.
background there, Peter. Is that the MSI or the amphibian that you had? Kind of?
This is the amphibian.
Amphibian.
This is the aluminum amphibian.
So tell me more about those knives. I haven't handled these new Microtechs yet.
Well, let's get this stuff out of the way first. If you go online, of course, you'll hear a lot of complaints. The original RAM locks, I guess, didn't have the lockup that people wanted. People complained. There have been some complaints about Microtech's M390MK. Apparently, it has been soft. I have two of them in the M390MK,
Mhm.
and I have yet to have to even put a sharpening stone to the edge. Like, these things have held in as beautiful. I don't know what the hell people are talking about. The RAM lock is tough. It's durable. There is not. I mean, dude, when these are locked up, there's no wiggle, no rock, no nothing.
I've
And
handled
yet
it.
they just go away beautifully. The
Yeah.
aluminum is milled in a
Oh,
way that
that's-
gives you lots of grip. Now
Yeah,
they
that
do make
is nice.
these in G10 By the way, I got both of these through Napster, so I'm eternally grateful.
Well, he was just talking about the broken. Chris Reeves knife's broken.
The what?
The Chris Reeves knife's broken. CRP knife broken.
Broken?
He said
I think he's saying that.
Oh, it's broken in quickly. I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
CRP broken in quickly.
I really like these. If I was not a knife collector and I just needed a pocket knife forever, I would probably have one of these two and just call it good.
I really like the amphibian in carbon fiber.
Sure.
I really kind of want one. I've got a really fancy Damasteel or Razor Damascus one here now. It has to go down to Aussie Mike.
See, now you bring out that thing, and I don't know whether I like that or not, man. That's not because I'm old school, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm trying not to say anything negative.
Say it. You can't hurt my feelings. It's a knife.
No, I know. It's not to not.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying
the
not to.
AD20s. Those are good too.
So I absolutely passed on this without even looking at. I mean, I held it in my hand and then passed on it completely when I was at Blade. When these things came out in 19, 20. When of these I can't remember. But anyway, I saw them at Blade Show, and I just went, yeah, I don't care. But then I got these, and I have all my autos in Microtech, and then I got this. And
I want to be clear. I don't have a problem with them making Chinese knives. Okay, that's fine.
Nope.
But why that one, man? That is an iconic model. Yeah, man. Like that knife was. That's one of the. I think that's a sacred design. It shouldn't have been a fucking import. Like I'm sorry. Like
no, because it's a popular model that they wanted to then make more popular by making it more affordable and more available. I don't have a problem.
Man, you ain't
EDC had a chance to play with the Bravo.
I have a full review on that knife.
Okay.
I reviewed it against a actual Marfione custom Bravo.
Yeah.
It's a really cool video. It's got a lot of Trump funny stuff in it too.
This knife ruined me. It absolutely ruined me for 6 months. I used to get
that knife is good.
And I wanted one of these, and I waited for the drop point because I didn't want the Tanto. Yeah. And I got one of these through Chris. And I stopped knife hunting for like 6 months. Like it just wrecked me because I have had knives that cost, well, not Dirk level expensive, but I've had knives that cost $1,000 and knives that cost $20 and everything in between. And this thing is wholly unique in the way it fits my hand and the way that it's put together. And what it did though, eventually is it re-inspired my interest in the other stuff that Microtech is doing through Reich and through their own stuff. Because for a long time, I'll be frank, I love my original LUDT. I've got the second gen LUDT. It's a great slicer, but it's boring as it's just a knife. Like they didn't make anything that made me go, oh wow, that is so well made or so interesting that I really want to chase it.
Right.
They are now. And I'm happy with that. I don't care if half of it, they partnered up with one of the weirdest knife companies. Reich makes the most bizarre shit. Excuse my language.
That's another thing, man. They make these alien weird.
They make alien weird stuff for sure. Yeah. Napster Ninja likes he's a big fan of the Microtech Reich.
So here it is. I have no problem with it. Just do a new model. Like don't rehash like old cool USA made OG. Like, you know how bad that pissed off Microtech collectors? And some of them were being ladies. And some of them... But I kind of get it, too. Because, like, if you do have, like, the customs and all that stuff, and you're like, what is that shit? I don't know.
Here's the thing about... And here's just my feeling on that. Knife designers have usually a relatively narrow of time where their designs make money for them.
Yes.
Microtech is not one of those examples.
Ken Onion is a great example. I mean, he doesn't get anything for all these old designs that Kershaw.
He's timeless, man. Yeah.
Right. So if Marfione and Microtech and Reich wanted to get together and make a bunch of money again on a knife design that's been around for 15 years, good for them.
That's what it's all about.
Well, that's what the movie industry is doing, right?
Yep.
And
Oh,
having
geez,
had-
dude, can they come up with a freaking a unique movie? No. What do they got? They've got freaking Beverly Hills Cop 4, Bad
Man, movie
Boys
was fun.
3 or 4. Lethal Weapon is coming out with a 5 or 6.
No.
Top Gun, they're talking about a 3 again now. Like it, dude, come up with some original freaking movies.
Well, let's move back to Knives a little bit and talk
Yes.
about what happens when companies want to be too original. Yes, but also I think that Microtech is at the very least one of the few companies that has been able to say, we made this really cool thing 10 years ago. Let's do it again. Whereas other companies are like, here's the new, 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 here's the new. And like, I have not been interested, for instance, in a Kaiser in 5 years. They made a bunch of cool shit, 17, 18, and then the company fell apart and they rebuilt. And all their stuff is the same now. I don't care how good it is. It's the same knife over and over and over again. So at least Microtech is like, here's old interesting stuff for a whole new generation of people. I wasn't going to chase an original Annex for $2,500 on eBay. I wasn't even going to get at this, but then I had the other ones, and I'm like, well, they're also damn good. Why don't I go ahead and give that a shot, right? And which then inspired me to spend actual, And so I agree with you, but I'm never going to hold it against a knife maker, particularly a designer, if he goes, I sure do love designing knives, but I also would like to pay my rent. Right. So let's make this knife again.
We have to remember that they're in it to make money. They are in it, like depending on the maker. Some of the small makers are in it because the craftsmanship and this and that. But at the end of the day, they got to make money.
So you're telling me they're not going to make money if they choose to make a new design?
Not as much money, maybe.
Not as much.
Maybe
money.
more.
But the new design, what I'm getting at is that if you're a designer and you've made 50 knives or 100 knives in your past, and somebody comes to you and says, hey, we want to rerun knife number 2. And you look at your books and you're like, I haven't made $10 off knife number 2 in 10 years. And they're like, well, we're going to charge $400 for it. Here's your percentage. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to make it. Okay, let's do that.
Yep. I agree with
that. I get it from a collector's perspective. It's a bummer. Like if, well, for instance, there's a difference, I think, between. Okay, so Dirk, I always forget his name. Who makes those big giant battle axe knives that you have?
Phil Harvey?
Phil Harvey.
Yes, Phil Harvey. There's an M-Tech that looks an awful lot like a Phil Harvey knife.
There's some people that have knocked off
right
them. Yes.
I would rather that the designers and makers make their own second generation of the same knife than let somebody at a flea market sell 50 of the things.
Yes, I agree with that too.
So, but I guess I'm just not a collector at that level. Like there's if Sean Hassan suddenly decided to put this into production, I wouldn't suddenly be all sad because there's 1,000 of them. I'd be like, good for you, dude, because I know how much you charge, and then good for you, make the money.
Right.
And
but
you would be happier if they made them in a different color.
Well, they would.
Yeah, and the one that you have then is more the original and things like that. Like,
and I am clearly talking as a collector, and you guys are absolutely correct. I know that, but I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. Do something different.
No, and I agree with that too.
The best thing about knives, and this is an argument that I have to have all the time because people like to be mad about things.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Is that knives are entirely subjective. We can all like something different, and nobody actually has to be wrong because they're knives. Like it's not.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the best part about it is that I can have a $25,000 collection and Dirk can have a $25,000 collection, and they can be completely different. It's not about the money that you spent on them. It's about the fact that they're to our taste, right?
Yes, they're very personal.
Yeah, they are. In this instance, if I had spent a couple of years hunting down an original, and then a year later they came out with the right version, I totally get that. I've been like, what the? Come on.
Yeah, but
that's,
you know though that one is an original version. Like there
And
is.
I am that guy. I am that guy that does that.
I think we're wasting time not talking about the danger nipple on the Matrix. I really do. This is the stupidest thing I have ever. This is so dumb. I love this knife to pieces.
Yes.
I really do, except for this thing.
Yeah.
Put it in front of my face so you can see it. This is the dumbest.
Yeah.
Yes.
The originals had that too. You know,
Yeah,
I used to have a custom mini Matrix, and it had that thing on there. Yep. Yeah.
I'm not mad.
That's yeah.
I just think it's funny. One of the things about Microtech that I really like is they're not afraid to go, this is dumb. Here's 10 of them.
Right.
Well, you
And
see,
they
like
sell.
we do like custom tactical straws, and then they make like flasks, and they make like they'll make anything. You know,
They really will.
Right. But they do have their like signature look. They've really done a good job with that. Like you look at a Microtech, even if it's a new model you've never seen before. Like the first time I saw the amphibian, I'm like, oh, that's a Microtech. Before I saw that and read that, it was a Microtech.
Right.
And that they're very good at, and I like that. I like design recognition.
I'm for it. I think if you can stay true to the design aesthetic of a knife and still bring it up to date or make changes to it, I really enjoy when they do that. As long as the original designer continues to get credit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's fantastic.
Yep.
Yep.
Microtech Marfio's Peak Mall Ninja. Absolutely. And on behalf of my tabby boot and small black hoodie that I wear sometimes, yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, the knives are fun. There's a little story about everyone.
There is. It's interesting. We talked a little bit about how I stepped away for a while from the full length videos. And go ahead.
We got splitting slices. All I know is I still carry my first giveaway win ever, a spring assisted Kershaw Brawler from our lovely guests.
Aww.
I don't feel wrong about carrying it. That's awesome. Now, Splitting Slices actually sent me, I don't have them here close by, some stickers. And they were very cool stickers. And then some of them, after like a day or two, I looked at them again. I realized that 2 of them were magnets, not stickers.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm kind of an idiot and didn't realize that first thing. So now it makes me want to go and, I mean, he got them because I made stickers. So I sent him some stickers. Now I'm thinking, man, do I need to make magnets too?
Yep.
You do. I'd like to welcome Dirk to the year, 2019 and stickers.
I know. Finally got stickers.
Haven't you been talking to us about stickers for
5 years?
5 years?
Yep.
Yes. I talked about a logo for a long time. And then I finally do have, as you see here, a logo that my buddy Chris up in Canada made for me. And I have stickers.
Wow.
And I have some more stickers coming on Monday because they started to, I didn't run out, but it's just a sticker, not a magnet, but a sticker.
Alex, do you have swag? Because I know you've changed the channel name a couple of times. Do you do swag? No swag?
Nope. No swag. I'm too little, man. I have like 2,300 subscribers. Who cares about the channel? I post like once a month, maybe once every
2,300 people care about the channel.
2,300 people sort of care.
But
I like to imagine
video counts are okay, so I do all right. Like I get.
I was looking. Your 2,300 subs are getting you a lot more views than my full length stuff right now. So don't knock it, man. At least they're committed, right?
Aussie Mike in the house.
Yeah. I have like
Alex got the tilt. We were talking about that earlier. Do you still have it there in front of you, Alex?
Yeah, I still have it here.
Now I have a question about that tilt.
Yeah,
this leans into the sort of small number batch stuff. Are you going to carry that thing?
Yeah, I already did.
Okay, I mean that's important. There are people that buy them like they buy, what are those little dolls that everybody loves so much?
I mean, I know how to use a knife without
Beanie Babies?
wearing it down. I mean, it's not like plastic; it's steel, right? Like, just don't.
It is.
I don't know. I would say just don't be an idiot and don't like shove it into everything. And if it's a day where I know I'm going to be doing a lot of like boxes and stuff, I'm not going to carry this. This is just like an occasional like little cut of something. I actually carry my 777. I cut with that too. The Damascus one.
I'm 100% behind that, man. I am.
Yep.
I showed this a minute ago. This is the Ferox. This is a wee knife.
Oh yeah.
Design.
Uh-huh.
This is the only one you'll ever see that's gray. It's because I bought my number 100 and hold on. This is one of 300.
Okay.
This is 123 of 300, and I bought my number 123 of 300, and immediately took the yellow anno. I had the worst anno on these handles. It scared me off the knife for a long time. I love this thing, and in fact, when I posted it on, but that's what I'm getting at. It's rare, but I carry this thing all the goddamn time. I will kill this knife before I ever get rid of it. And I'm, so there's two ways to collect these kind of low number, small production knives. Do you buy them because you want to keep them in like a rotating glass case with spotlights on them, or do you buy them because you really enjoy that design and you're going to carry it or use it? Now, look, I don't carry my Chris Reeves don't go camping with me because I don't want to drop one of those in the woods. I don't have that kind of money, but they do go out into the daytime with me, right? So I'm totally okay with having like limits on where you carry your knives.
Well, I have one. There's only one that I don't carry, and it's actually a ProTech.
Oh, it's the fancy one.
It's a fancy one. It was a copper, so it had a copper inlay handle, and it's 0 of 10. And they decided not to manufacture it. So that is probably the only one that I don't carry.
Because that'll never come again.
That's fair.
Yeah, and they said they're never going to be designing that one. So
that's fair. And like me, I carry everything regardless of its price. Okay, that's just me.
Well,
and I cut with them, I carry them, I'll use them. I don't carry the Phil Harvey Peacemaker very often because it's like 2.5 pounds. It barely fits in my pocket.
The thing's nuts.
He's got suspenders,
Now you hear me say I don't carry it much.
I honestly carried it. You should carry that Peacemaker more often, Dirk. You should.
Let's get you like a shoulder rig for it.
I need a shoulder rig for it. That's what I need.
Right? We'll just
we'll get him a satchel. Those man persons.
Alex wants, Aussie Mike wants to know if you got him a tilt also, since they're discontinued now.
You got one for everybody.
Unfortunately, not.
Everybody look under your chair. One for you. One for
you get a tilt. You get a tilt. Everybody gets a tilt.
Yeah, Alex, I want to come someday, brother. I just want to come to your house and go through all that stuff behind you.
Right.
Oh, by all means, man. By all means.
For those of you that aren't familiar with the Phil Harvey Peacemaker,
that will not fit in my pocket.
This will not fit in your little woman pockets for sure. Nope. It's the pocket clip. For reference, the pocket clip is about 5 inches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have, if you ever send that out for a spot, I'm gonna have them put a lanyard hole on there, and so you can carry it around your neck.
Dude, I need to send it. I do actually need to send all 3 of my Phil Harveys back to him because this one needs some sharpening because I damaged the edge a little bit. The war crime. The detent ball had fallen out from the previous owner, and it scratched the detent track, scratched by the lock bar.
Yeah.
It has a detent ball in it now. Phil sent him a detent ball. They press it in. But Phil wants it back to fix that. And then the Gladius just needs a spa. It's dull. It needs to be sharpened and whatnot.
You know what, man? I love it.
I don't know. I'll carry anything,
A bandolier for the Peacemaker. Yeah, I need something to make this a little more.
That's a good idea.
A little more carryable. I could have it in a bandolier kind of here, right? Like, and it could go around a shoulder strap thing. I don't know.
Perfect.
That would be something. Yeah, that's about the only, those big goofy ones I don't carry too often, but everything else, for the most part. Oh, there is one knife I do not carry. That is my Spyderco World Trade Center 9/11 memorial knife. That one's never been carried. So I will take back my previous statement of I carry everything. That one I have never carried It's in a nice little wooden presentation box, and it has the World Trade Center, this New York City skyline cut out of an I-beam that was found at ground zero. They made one for every number of lives that was lost that day and all of that. But yeah, so that one doesn't get carried. Everything else gets carried and used, whatever.
Right.
It's just a knife. Some are more expensive.
I carried this one. Here's an old school one. Do you guys remember these? The Millet Torrent.
Oh, the millets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's old.
Millet Torrent from way back in the day. See, and
That's
this
cool.
one, it's like
I had
two
a
different
millet.
knives, you know?
What did
Yeah.
I have? I don't think it was
It's
that
got
one.
fine
It was a
milling.
different version of the millet that I had.
And then it's
Napster
Time
says-
Master.
Napster, is that the knife you brought us one time and asked us to try and figure out how to open it?
Oh, that's
So-
right. He's a Northern California dude too. That you get to hang
Yeah.
out with, but I'm not
Yeah.
good enough to hang out with all of you guys. But that's okay. I'm not bitter about
I got to
that.
get myself up there in NorCal one of these days and go hang out with
Yeah.
you guys.
Certain sentimental type knives, I could see totally not carrying either.
Well, this is a one of one, actually. And
I
I
think-
carry and cut with this thing all the time.
I
Why
think
not?
that's why I've never really gotten into like the fancy. I've got a couple of customs, but not many. And I think
Dude,
that-
I only paid
Not
like
a bad idea,
$6.50
Todd.
for this. I
You say
didn't pay much
$6.50?
for it. I only paid $6.50 for this knife. It was from a friend, like he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to get rid of some stuff." I didn't even ask him to give it to me for that cheap. This knife was like a lot more than that. But he's like, "No, just give me $6.50. We're cool." And,
I think
and
I think
it's
Luck
me.
is talking to you, Alex.
What's he asking?
Or you said you got to make yourself up to Northern California, or you could just come out to Blade West.
Or
Still
well,
October.
maybe both.
October.
I just don't know when.
Is it the end of
It's in
October?
October.
4th and 5th.
October
Oh, it's
4th
the
and
beginning
5th.
of October. It's the 4th and 5th. You wanna go this year?
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. There's an early flight. I think I'm going to take the Friday morning flight out and get there by like 8.
So
Have my
we
biggest
want to
thing
go, but I just quit my job and I'm starting a new one.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, well, 23
That's
years.
fine. I mean,
23 years is enough, and hopefully nobody I know is on this video. But I don't know whether or not we're going
Peter
to be
can
able to.
come
I guess
out by
if it's just
himself.
one day, I can tell them it's one day.
you could just come on Saturday.
That's not fun.
It's about price for value, man. It's the tickets cost the same whether we stay for 1 day or 3 days. The airline, the flight,
Yes.
and so there's this, the point of all the chaos that goes with it. So we'd like to go. I actually talked to.
I'd be large. Where do you live?
California is overrated. Yes, it is. And I've lived here for my entire life.
Me too.
Yeah, man. The only thing worse than California is literally anywhere else you could live. So yeah, it's.
Where do you live, Ivy Large? Blade Show West is not in California. It's in Utah. If
Right.
that's what you're thinking about. Just to be clear for Ivy Large or anybody else. He says he'd rather go to France, but I get it. But
place in France where the naked ladies dance.
Ironically,
anyway, I am going to go to
born-
Blade Show West. I might try to go to California Custom Knife Show this year. It is on my list. And I would probably drive down on Friday, attend Friday Night Blade Affair, and then go to the show Saturday. And then maybe
California Customs was where?
it's
That's in my
now
hood.
in Woodland Hills.
Woodland
They
Hills.
moved.
Just Woodlands up north.
Oh, they moved it.
Woodland Hill.
Yeah, Woodland Hills now. It's not at the same hotel that we've met at before, Alex. Right near
Oh, yeah?
Disney. It's
Thanks, Todd.
moved out to Woodland Hills. So I mean,
That's all right. That's not that much further.
it's not that much farther. It's not so much different. It's
That's in the
actually maybe a little easier for me to drive to rather than fly to because it's not right near the airport. So I may just drive down.
It makes more sense. By the time you fly and get your luggage and all, I mean, it doesn't. It's quicker just to drive.
So I'm thinking I'm going to go to that one. That one's Saturday, Sunday, but I would probably just go Friday night to Friday Night Blade Affair, which I haven't been to. See some of my high-end friends there, and then on Saturday go to the show. Maybe Alex shows up, maybe he works, and then Kick Rocks Saturday afternoon, probably to come home.
No, I'm October. You said
that one is October 25 and 26, if that's the weekend.
Yeah, I don't work that weekend.
So let's plan that out and see.
That'd be fun.
You guys can come too.
I'll bring my deep collection of Civivi knives and really show you guys what's up.
I'll bring my
all my Gerbers.
Yeah.
I'll bring my Kershaw Natrix. I'll bring that one.
I don't.
You bring the Natrix. I'll bring the Matrix. We'll get somebody else along to bring the Tatrix. I don't know, whatever else they've done with it.
All the tricks.
Right.
I'll bring one or two of the pieces of junk I own. So
I'm gonna take this.
I can go to the dollar store and get a Dolica.
I have one.
An R2D2.
Keith gave me a Dolica. I'm part of the Dolica club.
No, actually, it's not an R2D2 because it's not even the D2 days yet.
Oh, it's just the R2.
Rat 1.
Yeah. I do have an R2D2 right there. This is the Rat 2.
Oh, it's the Rat 2. Okay.
And I left the pocket clip like this on purpose.
Because you're hateful.
Oh, okay.
Because it's pink. It deserves to have this pocket clip like this. This is a purse kind of,
My journey, nobody's too far to go visit California. They have planes. It's a new invention.
That's true.
Or you can meet at Blade West. My buddy's going to have a booth, so I'm going to be hanging out at
Who's your buddy? You have a buddy?
Blade. I have a couple of friends, so I'm going to hang out with
Listen, Alex and I were talking about this. We were happy being your only friends. Now I feel very sad.
Don't worry, he doesn't hang out with me when he goes with those guys.
Okay, so going backwards.
Who has a booth?
Yellow Day Energy is going to have a booth.
Okay.
He had a table last year, which I hung out at. This year, he's got upgraded to a booth. Big Knives is also going to be there, so I'm going to hang out with them a little bit.
I'd go there.
And that's pretty much where I'll be at those two. I don't even really walk around the shows. I just kind of sit. I look at a couple things really quick, and then I just hang out in one spot.
I'll bring the icon, see if I can get him to sign it.
Oh, and Luck Knives is going to have a table this year. I met him at Blade West last year. Walked around with him for a little bit. He's going to have a table now. I need to talk to all of my friends there about getting a badge.
It's your bowl on the counter.
Luck, if you have an extra badge, we'll talk. But Chris doesn't know if he's going to have one for Yellow Day yet. So,
you're talking Blade West, right?
Yeah, Blade West. I'm too impatient to wait in line with people anymore. So I need to feel special.
No, I'm just thinking how I can get in there.
So Blade West is October 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Friday and a Saturday.
Damn, 2 shows in 1 month.
And then California Custom is October 25 and 26, Saturday, Sunday. Thank you, Luck. So I'm going to try to do both. Work schedule, like there's some work stuff maybe, but I'm going to try to do both, and I'll probably just drive down to SoCal. I'll just drive probably. Unless Lindsay wants to come, my girlfriend, she doesn't do the drive thing. She has to fly to things like that. She doesn't want to be in the car that long with me, I guess. So we're limited to about a 2-hour-ish window. And
you must be the type of guy that farts in the car and doesn't roll down the window.
No, she just doesn't like my driving.
What you got there?
So this is the Bad Habits Manufacturing mofo.
Oh, that's the one he's going to give me to check out.
Yeah. So I shared this on one of the groups I'm on Instagram, and I immediately got a bunch of responses that, mine had detent lash and this thing. This thing is perfect. And I haven't fallen in love with a knife like this in a long time. And it's S30V. They're very expensive for S30V. But it's just a neat tool. I love the shape of the blade.
Yeah.
My detent's great. It's got that nice tanto, but it's got this, sort of like rounded spine.
Gives it a drop. Yeah.
It's a drop toe.
Yeah, it's a drop
point.
Yeah,
but this thing is cool.
That's too close to paint.
That's cool.
How much are those?
These in basic configuration, I think they were $285.
Okay.
Which is significant, particularly for SSD. But it's just really well done.
Yeah, it sounds really nice.
Mine, the previous owner, Izzy, put a fancy clip on it. You can't see that for shit.
Okay, that's not normal.
No, I've got the standard. It's the same shape. It's just a standard tie clip.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But this is what. Okay, so we're talking about all the collector stuff in small batch, and this is why I continue to love knives, because I get to a point after a while, particularly with big companies, where I'm like, I have seen it all. I don't care to do reviews anymore. This is boring. And then somebody out of the blue will go, "Hey, have you seen this?" And I'm like, "No, what is that?" And all of a sudden, all the interest and all of the, I hate to use the word passion, but that's what it is, comes like roaring back because it's something I have not seen before. And I love it. Right?
It is lovely. It
is.
It is, but it's disappointing when you see releases of some of your favorite knife companies and they're just not making the same stuff that they used to. And
get off the edge, Gerger Paul. You just heard it from the man that it's an awesome knife. So,
but not talking about ZT knives or anything like that. But at the same time, there is a lot of makers out there, and there are I think people that don't get enough spotlight. That could be one of those makers, because I've heard of that brand before, but I haven't seen that knife before. So not that I'm really poking around like I used to. Before I'm like, oh, I know what that is. But now I'm not as good as I used to be. But again, maybe it's not being publicized as much as it should, and I think people need to be very open-minded when they're looking at these things. It's kind of like I describe in the car business, because that's my profession, is fixing cars, right? And I always get some of my regular clients, some of them for 10 years, they always ask me this question of, what's a bad car nowadays to buy? What should I not buy? And I tell them, in all honesty, any car you buy, whether it's from Kia, Hyundai, or whoever, you're going to get a good product now. They just don't. Go ahead.
Question. This is showing Blade Show West this year is the 2nd through the 7th.
Blade Show West this year?
That's what it says.
That's Wednesday through
Monday.
Wednesday through Monday.
No.
Oh yeah, that's a big negative for me.
We're on the web. We're on their webpage right now.
That's not what I saw last night when I literally looked on their website last night.
I don't know. That's why I was just looking at this and I'm like, why is it showing that?
I don't know. Maybe Luck can chime in since he has a table there. But
sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So, yeah, look here. What I would love to see about your collection, particularly Alex, is the fact that you have, you were able to reach back and pull a rat out of your thing. And also, I know you've got stuff that costs more money than I will probably spend on my next car. And so it's this, it really is, but it's yours. Right?
Well, yeah, but
that's Dirk's too. It's his stuff. I said when I met Dirk, oh yeah, man, I love big knives. And he goes, here, check these out. And I'm like, I turns out I don't
love big knives.
It's too big, but that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
I think I lost where you were headed a second ago, but I just wanted to point out, I meant what I said. I would love a chance to come and sort of paw through that amazing safe, because I would love to see.
Oh yeah, man.
It would be a cool trip. I haven't been there either. I think we need to plan something like that and go down there and hang out at his house for an afternoon, and we could do a live from there. And just, I don't know. I would love to go through the box.
I have a huge backyard, so we can go out there and do a pit and a live and post it up front and hang out and do all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, there is all kinds of shit here. I mean, there is stuff I probably haven't touched in a long time.
He's got stuff in there he didn't even remember he had.
Heroes right here.
Uh-oh.
like old scales, like custom materials. Like,
Luck
yeah, I
says
don't
he's
even know what's new
seeing
anymore.
October 4th and 5th as the show and the 3rd to set up.
Maybe you said
That's what it says
4th
elsewhere
and
on the
5th.
website, but if you go to their calendar, I don't know.
I don't know. But Napster Ninja had an interesting question here that I think we'll kind of try to start to wrap up. But has the knife industry caught up with their prices? $200 and under was great before. Now, $300 to $400 is the average for some, and it's a bit much. He pulled back a bunch.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I think Alex and Peter and Christine are probably better to answer this because I
A little more in that range.
sadly don't play in that world anymore. I don't really. I bought a house a year ago. This beautiful house that I love very, very much, and I've bought 2 knives in that year,
Right.
and they were pricey, and they were like 6
You
months
could have
apart.
got one more bedroom if you hadn't bought those knives.
I could have bought another bedroom instead, but I opted for the 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I really wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is what I really wanted. Here in my area, that was just price prohibitive of what I wanted to pay a month. Sure, the bank said you can have X amount of money, but I don't like top ramen that much. So I figured I better buy something that's within my own personal means to buy. So what do you guys think about that question? Because I think, you had mentioned that mofo that you have at 285 was steep, and Alex just bought the $500 tilt that he also says was steep.
Yep.
Go ahead, Alex, because I think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's almost like the damn. I don't want to say that word because I don't know what it does to our video. But the CO vid.
Yeah.
At that time, everything went up like crazy, right? And then everybody thought stuff was going to come back down, or some people, maybe not everybody, because I didn't. I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for somebody who's a bastard to start creating this as a new norm, right? And I think the knife industry and all this stuff, everybody, whether it was true or not, had this excuse, oh, well, import fees, right? And then truck fees and this. And I think that extended to like every product, knives included, watches, everything. Actually, I think watches maybe are a little more stable, but I definitely saw it in the knives. And even in the custom world, which like, me and Dirk play in, Dirk's like a lot more in the higher stuff than me, but like a few grand I've done before, and what I used to get for $2,000 back in the day, or like $2,500, was like a premium maker.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm spending $3,000 or $3,500, I'm probably ordering a Stan Wilson, in like 2015, 2014 era time, something like that. So the fact that these same exact things that are improved to a certain extent have gone and quadruple, like I can't even say how many times they've doubled in price. For some of these same makers, it's like Napster says, I've kind of stepped out of that arena now, and I'm going back to like productions and limited editions because I'm having more fun spending that level money. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I have like stuff like I still want that's expensive. Like I'm building a knife with Ian, but that knife's been in the making for like 3 or 4 years. Right. Like I'm just on this galactic wait list, right? And then I can figure out what I want, and then they finally harass me into ordering some. So like, it's not that I don't want to like play in that arena at all, but not as much anymore. Just because even if, let's say, all I have to do is just sell a few things, and then I can get that whatever figure knife that I want, I still don't want to do that because I'd rather have all these than that one, like whatever figure knife. I know that may sound weird to some because sometimes people want to step up in stages, right? But I think I've reached like minus a couple like grails, like, and me and Dirk know like what my true like 2 grails are, like because they go back to my roots again of something I wanted really early on in my knife collecting journey. And those things are really expensive. As a matter of fact, one of them is probably a knife I'll never be able to own, which is a Stan Wilson non-flipper flipper.
It's available right now. Kyle's
Yeah,
got
for
one.
for 12 grand, baby. But I'm, you know, I just don't have
12.5, I think it is.
Yeah.
I bet you I can get it for 12. But
So I think of the three of us, I'm the one that actually lives in the world that Napster's talking about because I am a production knife guy.
exactly. That's why we brought you on.
But I'm in the same thing, just in a higher step, right? Like the same thing.
Right, but he was asking, have knives? So he's not wrong. And I'll give you an example. I can remember when I bought my first $200 knife.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big deal because knives were 150 to, you know, and then all of a sudden, this is 2017. And then knives were 250. That was sort of the sweet spot. Riot, Kaiser was all producing these big titanium S35 via knives, about $225. And then we got up through about 2020 when the wall hit, that thing happened that Alex mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Now those same companies are like, well, here's this knife in micarta for $200. So the amount of materials that you get for that same $200 is diminished greatly. And if you want the knife in titanium with the, you know, the high-end steel blade, now they're $300 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been this sort of $100 to $150 jump in the production knife cost market. Now, somebody mentioned Benchmade. I love my Benchmades. I have 26 of them.
Holy moly!
I'll be damned if I'm going to go actually buy. I'm not spending, you know, $500 on the new 710.
Yeah.
They're out of their minds, except they're selling them.
That's what
Somebody's
it boils
buying
down
them.
to, right? If
So-
they're selling them at those prices, why are they going to not charge
Right.
that?
You never get rid of an income stream. That is corporate logic 101. Once you discover how much money you can make, you just keep making that much money.
And you just raise the price until people stop buying, and then you drop
the
the price.
Fed had to get
and you call it
involved
good.
at the Safeway and Walmart level to ask them to please stop gouging their customers. And they went, yeah, okay. And they made a big deal of lowering prices on 5,000 items by something like 20% because they just raised those prices for the hell of it. And we all kept paying.
Yep.
Okay. Knives are a little different than that. I think that, I don't know. I think 5 years ago you could get an awful lot of knife for $225, and I think you'd have to spend $400 to get that same knife today. And I don't see $175 worth of improvement.
Agreed.
Well, that's exactly where I'm going with that too, you know. And even as you know, like I have some cheaper knives too, less expensive ones, you know, talking like sub 100. And I like those knives. They're fun, you know, for all kinds of reasons. But
you nailed it.
I'm
Paul.
seeing the same thing. Like you're seeing a big price bump, and you're not seeing a bump in anything in return,
right?
Except you're just paying more for the same knife, right? And it's just I just felt like the knife scene got a little bit stale for a while, so I don't participate in buying everything anymore like I used to. I used to buy like 3 or 4 knives a month, you know, not always like, you know, a lot of expensive ones, but maybe like a $20 one, like a Rat, and then I'll throw in like a little Kershaw, and then I'll buy a Microtech with it or something like that. Now, like I think this year I only bought like maybe like 3 or 4 knives all year. Like I haven't bought that many. I bought a few more watches though, but
yeah, it's like Paul says. Some people think expensive means good. That's not always true.
No,
sometimes it is true.
Sometimes it is true. Sometimes you are getting what you pay for.
And
Other times
you're not. You have to become a smart shopper and educated shopper.
Alex, you mentioned stale, and I think that's a really good word.
Mention what?
He mentioned the word things get kind of stale.
Stale, yes.
In a conversation with somebody about 6 months ago or 8 months ago, I said, if I have to review another bolster lock titanium super steel knife in fat carbon, I'm going to throw up.
I was going to send you one tomorrow. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, don't. You won't.
Yeah,
But,
don't.
We went from Kaiser making these giant wild titanium monsters, Riot making these funky knives, I mean, to everyone making sort of the same knife in different colors over and over and over again. And it got really hard to stay interested. And then the prices went up. So now I want the titanium bolster lock and fat carbon with the Wharncliffe blade or the drop point blade from these two different companies for $350. I was like, I don't want any of it. And then of course everybody fell in love with button locks, and then everybody fell in love with axis locks.
Right. It definitely is trends and waves of, you know, button locks, and then bolster locks, and then frame, like, you know.
I don't care what. I don't care what time.
M390. Everybody's got magnet.
I don't care what time of year it is. Bolster lock is always welcome with me. I love bolster locks.
And I'm not a button lock.
Like, if you talk to like the custom knife makers that I deal with one every so often, that's the first thing I always say I want. I want a bolstered lock, you know, and they're like, fuck, because they're not fun to make, you know?
Yeah, and like Gerger Paul says, and then you got Winter Knife Co. that brings out magnets, but they don't make that many. Like, I don't know. I've handled a few of the Winter Blade Co. knives. I've talked with the owner a couple times. Tried to get him on the show here, but he just doesn't do that because
I tried to.
He's like, no, I don't do public speaking, you know, whatever. Okay, fine.
I'll bet Christine can get him.
I don't know that I love the you know, I don't know. It's magnets. It's weird.
I think
this is another good comment.
I think we just keep trying to reinvent the wheel and make it a little rounder every time, you know. But there comes a point when the wheel is only as round as it's gonna get, you know, for our abilities as manufacturing abilities.
Here's you're 100% right, and here's what I would say to that. When I started doing this silly thing that we do, this YouTube thing, in 2019, 5 years ago, there were like every 6 or 7. There was knife drops like every few months.
Damn, I was just gonna mention the seasons. And I was gonna say the choices were a lot narrower.
Right.
Yep. Like for a hard built knife, you're gonna go get a ZT0456 or, you know, like, and then if you wanted like something import, you're gonna go to Wee or Kaiser, right? Like. And then, like you mentioned, like Kaiser used to make these really big, weird knives. And I like Kaiser better. I mean, I'll say their knives now are better knives.
They are.
But I like those knives that they made better back then because they had a signature to it.
The designs are different.
The design recognition. I'm going back to that, you know, like you guys develop your own thing. It's even some custom knife makers like Heater Knives, right? Which I love that guy, right? Like those were the days for me because there was like only like certain things, and just like Peter freaking nailed it, man. It's those seasons, right? And I always knew like around October, November, ZT's gonna release those crazy factory customs, so be ready. Right. And I always knew that like Spyderco had their like, you know, like 3 season releases, I think was what it was. And then you get like a sneak peek of the first season. And then, you know, like they kind of float it, you know. But, you know, now you just, dude, you go to Blade HQ and you scroll and it's not that anymore. It's just like tons of fucking like knives. I couldn't even tell you what brand they were because it's just a bunch of knives. Like once in a while I'll scroll and I'll stop and I'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I'll keep strolling through a bunch of knives. So now I gotta like swim through a sea of junk to find like something interesting is how I feel.
Maybe that's why I recently got so into these Microtechs. Somebody said to me the other day, is Microtech the new old ZT? And I had to stop and think about that really hard. And I realized They are. That's what they're doing. They're making big, kind of silly, overbuilt, functional tools that are interesting and don't look like everybody else's knives. So where I went from having no interest in Microtech as a company, I just didn't. I don't care about OTFs at all.
Right. Yeah.
To all of a sudden, I'm like, holy crap. And I realized when they asked me that question, it's because what they had done is Microtech had reached out and touched that old ZT spot, that old 303, that, you know what I mean? Like monster, kind of ridiculous, but holy crap, this thing is good button.
Yeah.
0 people, maybe Phil Harvey in his own weird way, 0 people are actively working on right now because, yeah. And you're the other piece, Alex, you're dead right. There's no season of knives anymore. There are 30 $300 knives coming out every month from 16 different companies in 14 different directions. And as someone who really enjoyed reviewing knives for a while, not only can I not keep up with that, but I don't care to.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't feel special anymore.
At all. You know?
And splitting slices says that's why VC Edge with the interface, Winter Blade Co. and Oz Machining started to get a bunch of attention because everybody else was just meh, and everybody else was just like you said.
I agree with the VC interface, but the Oz, I know they're really like popular. I don't see why on those things.
I think IB is mad at me because I posted a thing earlier on Instagram about the opening of the Olympics, and brother, I'm not going to engage and I don't care. So you can stop. We're not. It's free. Do your thing.
Yeah, I've got my own opinions on that, but we don't do politics on this show, so we're not going to talk about the Olympics. Napster Ninja Microtech manuals were unattainable 2 to 3 years ago. I was hunting SOCOM Elites, and they would sell out in a few minutes. Yep, that's the other
thing. I said a long time ago that if Microtech started making manuals, I would buy all of them, and they have. And I'm like, you know, I'm just not an auto.
That was my issue with the Stitch, man. I'm like, dude, you guys can't. The thing's really kind of cool. I had one like very early on, and I remember they were so damn cool. I'm like, if it could only be like an
you can have Jason send it
or like something like that, you know, like that would be a Stitch that I would buy. And you know, they did actually back in the day like hint of making a manual Stitch one day, but obviously it took forever.
Yes.
And maybe that's their way. They're slow to change. These old companies are like that, right? They're slow to, it's like a sea change. Whereas the newer, particularly the Chinese companies, they can turn on a dime. If next week the new material is unobtainium X3 or whatever, they're going to have 6 knives in it, like just like that.
I know, right?
Right. American companies particularly tend to be a lot more like, well, like we've been selling these knives for so long.
Right.
To change would be this effort. But once they make the change, you get stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% behind it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy world for sure. And so. But we could go on and on and on.
I'm still collecting knives, so
I still collect. And the beautiful thing about it is we can collect anything we want because it's very personal. And there's rarely judgment on what you collect versus what I collect. And we can still be friends and we can still do this and we can still do that because who cares?
Oh, no, man. You know, in the movies when they open up the magic book and the glow comes out and people go, that's every time you break open a knife case around me. Don't get me wrong, man. I love your just out of my league.
You know, what can I say?
Well, it's kind of fun. At least I get to enjoy some of those knives through Dirk too, you know? Like,
right?
Yeah.
I live vicariously. Dude, I always say the same thing. I have knives. Dirk has a collection.
Yes, but let's just, all right, I'm going to throw this out here and we're going to wrap it up. But I am in awe by a friend of mine, John, who sent me a box of knives that is incredible that I have to send back next week.
Oh.
We're sending back to him on Tuesday so that he can get them Wednesday because it's FedEx, overnight, early delivery, crazy amount of knives, 4 full custom Shirogorovs, a Todd Rexford, a Black Snow custom, opiate full dress custom, and another one that's more normal, actually, that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head because I'd never heard of it before. So there are, like, you look up to my collection, and I'm like, I don't have a collection. John has a collection, and he only sent me like
There's always that guy, right?
And so there's
always
always
the next thing.
So again, it's just enjoy the hobby however you can do it. Don't compare yourselves to other people. I've been there. I've been like, well, how come that guy's got? I have a lot of. I mean, I don't have a lot of knives. I have. People ask all the time. I have about 63-ish knives, 60 to 70 knives. That's it. But they're higher dollar, right? Some of them. So, but again, it's not really to catch up to somebody else. It's what I've evolved into. I like expensive things in general. It's just my nature. So
as long as no one in this room and anybody that does what we do, as long as we never get to the point where when somebody walks up and they go, "This is my new knife," and it's a Kershaw or something, we don't go, then we're fine.
Exactly. I am excited for you that you got a Kershaw, and I'm excited that you bought a Spyderco, and I'm excited that you bought a Benchmade, and I'm excited that you bought a Todd Fisher or a Frank Fisher. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm excited because you, whoever you are excited about a new knife that you got. And that just brings me joy because I don't judge that, well, my knife over here costs more than your knife. Who cares?
Yeah. When it turns into a measuring contest, it's no fun.
That takes the fun right out of it. And I don't play that game. That's why on my channel, I show stuff from $10. And I think the most expensive knife I've shown now, well, maybe, because I don't know how much John's cost. I didn't ask. I don't want to know. The most expensive knife that I know I have shown is $28,000. So
we're going to be fine. We're good.
Yeah. And I own $10,000 to $10,000 knives. So I know those ones are what I owe. But yeah, I've shown a $28,000 knife and I loved it. I didn't want it, but I loved it. It was a Todd Rexford, complex build, crazy, amazing knife.
All right.
I wouldn't have spent 10 grand on it, but there you go. I mean, I wouldn't have spent 28 grand on it myself.
That's all right.
On that note, I think we'll go.
I just want to say I am very grateful to both of you for making time and space for both of us. Christine had to go off and make dinner, but I really enjoyed this. And I apologize that it took so long. Thank you, both of you.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you guys are welcome anytime. What's for dinner? Because I can drive down.
What is for dinner? Spaghetti squash casserole. That's hard to say, oddly.
All right. Well, frozen pizza in about 40 minutes or casserole in about an hour. I don't know. I'll get back to you.
Thanks, guys.
Now, thank you guys for coming on. We greatly appreciate it. We'll talk. We'll get together maybe next week if we can to swap some stuff back and forth. And all of you people watching and listening, thank you very much for showing up. Be sure that you are subscribed to a Therapeutic Edge because I probably will never catch him now. So I might as well just support him. And Women Carry Knives. And of course, Alex, their links are down below in the description if you're not already following them. And come back in a couple of weeks. We don't know yet what next show will offer, but let us know. If you've got comments, comment down below what you guys want to see because we look at that too. All right. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. It's good to see everybody.
Love you guys.